online cups. He's just all in on both as we get into this game. PNC not messing around. Pirate Warrior versus Silence Priest.
And we've seen this matchup today, and I believe the Silence Priest was able to take it. They had a great start going into the Ancient Watcher, into the Humongous Razor Leaf, taunting things up.
Yep.
And yeah, so the Priest is able to just get carried away if they get the cards. Ancient Watcher is a great start. It's difficult for other classes to know whether or not to clear it, because there is the potential of a huge punish if it sticks around.
Yeah, and the problem is if that class is an aggressive deck, actually, then it means that if they're clearing it, they're not clearing your own face.
Right.
Which means, the game lasts longer. But also, if you don't clear it, like you said, Priest can just win a game out of nowhere.
Yep.
I played a Priest game this morning. It was a mirror. Turn 5, I think it was. He 32'd me with 1 minion.
32'd
yeah.
you? Is that the new? Is
32'd me, yeah. And I was just like, oh. Well, I just couldn't do anything about this game, and sometimes that's how this Priest works. You just build 1 minion, it sticks, then you have the lineup, especially with Shadow Visions, you can pull more Divine Spirits in a fire to make it easier, so you can just punch someone for lethal.
And look at this hand from Austria as well. He's got the perfect setup. Game King can play Ancient Watcher. It's not being silenced, so PNC may decide to just ignore it. Then Cabal Talon Priest buffs up his health. PNC may still decide to ignore it, and then the Shambler comes down. Oh, suddenly I've got a big taunt.
It's huge because you say, like, do you want to clear the 4/5? Probably not, but you might consider it if the opportunity is there. Maybe an upgraded Fiery War Axe plus a minion.
Yeah.
If you don't clear it and Talon Priest comes down, well, you can't clear it. It's got 8 health.
Yeah.
You just can't. And then, as you said, because it can't or won't be cleared, Shambler, and now Divine Spirit.
Right.
Game. I'm joking, by the way. It's not just game, but that's the kind of power turns that you can do as this deck.
Well, this was a very quick turn from Austria. Game King did have a couple of decisions to make there, but very, very quickly went straight with the Watcher. This is his plan. Watcher, Talon Priest. Then I guess there's the awkward turn where you want to decide, do I Divine Spirit first? Do I Shambler? But I think if he plays Divine Spirit there, the Warrior never clears the minion, and the Shambler is guaranteed to come down as, what's that, a 4/16 or something taunt? The only issue is you lose any ability to attack with the Ancient Watcher, because if you then silence it, well, no, you can start attack with it, but it's not a 4/16 anymore. It goes back.
You can silence it like post Shambler, right?
Yeah,
so then attack as a 4/5. But to be honest, I think the key here is going to be how many turns do you wait to have the payoff for a bigger minion? If you wait too long, you can just die.
Yep.
Whereas the only benefit here, at least, is standard. There's no Finley, so there's no chance of a Warlock hero power, a Druid, Mage, Hunter to push extra damage through taunts.
Right.
So there's no worry about that. So it just makes the Priest even safer. But this is a reasonably quick start. The South Sea Captain does wonders for a board like this, just buffing everything up and doing extra damage it shouldn't do.
Yeah, South Sea Captain going to do a lot of work. Naga Corsair, PNC's got the strong pirates in his hand. He's got the big guys.
He's got the zoo play.
He has. And pirates have evolved over time and become, especially with the addition of these Naga Corsair, they've become more similar to Zoo. Very, very, very aggressive Zoo. They can deal damage much faster.
Zoo with like double power overwhelming, double soul fire that always go fades.
And Leroy. Of course. But now the Cabal Talon Priest, as we said, came down, and PNC is going to have to make a really tough decision here. He is able to clear it. He can drop South Sea Captain and trade everything into the Ancient Watcher, but how bad does that feel for the face Warrior to do?
But the problem, and this deck frustrates me when I play against him, man, honestly. So you Captain, you go all into the Watcher, then they just buff the Talon Priest.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a realistic problem to just have.
Or just play a Humongous Razor Leaf. So,
sure, yeah,
the,
that's what I mean.
the 4/8 becomes just another 4/8.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Which kind of leads you to the conclusion that as the Warrior, you have to just go face, pretend it's not there, and hope there's no face of Shambler.
We have actually not discussed something that's pretty key in this matchup.
Okay.
A lot of Warriors, Pirate-wise, are playing Spellbreaker at the moment. Spellbreaker can win this game.
Right.
Spellbreaker probably carries this game on its back because they build normally one taunt, right?
Yeah.
It's one huge minion, and then they either lethal with it or it's a, untoppable wall.
Yeah.
So
212 or something.
Yeah, and if even bigger, it could just be 20 health. Like it's just not even hard, right? So if Spellbreaker comes down at the right time, opens up the gates, and allows the finishing push, then it's just game. Like Spellbreaker just wins the game.
The 416 taunt can just become a 1-1 without taunt.
Exactly.
The counter to that could be obviously if Game King picks up the second Faceless Shambler, but the chance of that happening is very, very low. You're right. Spellbreaker can just win the game, and we've seen today Spellbreaker in a Pirate Warrior.
And yesterday.
And yesterday as well. It's not just some fringe tech. It's actually in possibly the majority of Pirate Warriors that we've seen in HGG.
Well, it almost always translates to damage. I think that's why. The silence, whether it's on your own frozen minion, or whether it rebuffs a, say, Aldord minion, for example, or whether you just silence something that's in your way or you feel you have to trade into Divine Spirit, coming down now.
Sticking to plan A, as we said right back when we first saw the cards lined up. Next turn, I think, is quite obvious. In fact, Inner Fire can be slipped in as well, rather than just being a 416 with Taunt, a 1616 with Taunt. It's not going to 32 PNC, but it's going to do.
Unless he never attacks and survives 2 turns for the extra buffs. Maybe.
right.
Maybe. But
Seems unlikely.
And you can see already the value in which, or how linear this game plan is for Game King. He didn't even play the other Watcher, he healed instead. He's like, well, I don't need the other Watcher. My plan is play the Shambler and win.
I just need to not die. And actually, with the Sarkanite Reaper, Game King is on 6 health.
This is what I mean. The Divine Spirit made it become very, very close indeed.
That looks better to me than the Inner Fire. It's tough. It depends how quickly you want to win the game. I think for Game King, if he can stabilize like this, it's...
Yeah, it's definitely better than the Inner Fire, because what does the 16 damage do this turn? Nothing.
Oh, hold on a moment. Now 2 Spellbreakers may be required. Sun Fury Protector is not a card that we see regularly in Silence Priest. It was back in day 1 when we were first coming up with a deck and looking at it and thinking, hey, this looks like it could be quite good. But Faceless Shambler seems to be enough for most players, not for Game King. Game King is going to, in 2 turns' time, actually have a way of preventing Spellbreaker from winning PNC the game.
This is actually huge. And this is what I was talking about earlier. You use the Divine Spirit last turn, great. And he's had to because of how big the board is. But you also give your opponent another turn of swinging, right? You know, there's no taunts in the way. Now, it's all going to be on this Mortal Strike. That if there's 1, there's normally 2, Falk.
I'm just counting. PNC can actually destroy the Faceless Shambler this turn. I don't think he can quite push enough damage to win the game.
You can push 5, right?
What now?
Yes.
I think so. If he uses Mortal Strike.
Can he push 6?
Let's just do some mathematics.
There's 24 damage in total, including the Mortal Strike. It's just whether it lines up perfectly, which it should be able to.
I wonder.
I don't think it can.
No, I think it's always 5. I've just gone through a couple of... I've not decided to talk out my scenarios I've been doing in my head. I'm pretty sure it's always 5, no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a perfect way of killing the Faceless Shambler exact.
Yeah.
Because there is 24 total damage, which should be enough.
Yeah, you always go 1 over.
Of course, Corcoran is the same as Mortal Strike here. Oh, wait. We both...
They
lose their buff.
They debuff, that's what I'm saying, yeah. That was an error.
So PNC thought it was lethal. In fact, if he traded with the 3-3 here, and not with the South Sea Captain, it would have been lethal. Because the captain would have survived, and Patches would have had 1 extra attack.
Yeah, but then -3 damage. It would have been 5.
Oh, right.
It would have put him to 1. They could only do 5.
Right.
And that was the issue. The idea was that I think that the thought of the Patches losing the attack was the issue, right? Because you have to get through the taunt one way, and if he'd used the Corsair, then you don't do the damage anyway because Corsair would have done the extra push.
What a complicated puzzle. Not that it matters. Game King probably feeling pretty good about this new 418 taunt that he's created.
Not anymore, he didn't heal. Oh, no, he did heal, but it's not enough.
It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, he didn't get a heal, sorry.
Mortal Strike is still representing lethal in PNC's hand. That got a little bit confusing for a second there, but it doesn't matter. PNC gets there.
Yeah. Those games when a 418 doesn't do it. Wow, Mortal Strike going to end the game. PNC getting it there. Although you can see straight away, there was... I'll have to go back and look at that turn in a bit more depth. But Swipe Innovate Wrath. Okay, so it's Jade Druid because Wrath is a card. Swipes, not uncommon in aggro Druid, actually. Some players will be playing Swipes to actually just push extra damage.
It's not uncommon, but at the same time, I wouldn't say it's particularly popular. You don't think aggro Druid and think, oh yeah, swipe, double swipe every time.
Sure.
It's somewhere in between there.
Yeah, and obviously Cold Light Seer for Austria. So, you know, this is more than likely a bit of a heavier Murloc-based for this Paladin. Just because Cold Light Seer especially isn't one you'd even just decide to just drop in. It's not like Rockpool, right?
Yeah.
Rockpool's just a good card.
Yep.
You know, you're going to be playing so many Murlocs, and with the hero power, it's always going to get some good value. Cold Light, 3 mana, 2/3.
It's been a little bit scary playing a deck like this on ladder recently because of how prominent the Hungry Crab has been. Yeah, sometimes in Quest Rogue, as we saw earlier, often in Token Druid, often in Hunter. You know, like Hungry Crab's been appearing everywhere, so people have been shying away from this type of list on ladder. However, in global games, if you can get a matchup like this, I find it very unlikely that Jade Druid would be able to squeeze in a Hungry Crab anywhere.
Yeah, and I think as well, just the sheer numbers and based off odds of you hitting a specific Hungry Crab deck are actually just low. It's not like on ladder where you can queue against the same deck again and again.
Yep.
You play one game and it can hit, you know, any other of the 8. Well, it'll probably be like 7 classes because there's always a pairing, right?
Yep.
So you've got like a pretty decent chance of dodging one of the crab decks. But we see Snail there going off to a fairly quick opening with that Innovate into Jade Blossoms. Gives him options next turn, mainly Tar Creeper to play on 3.
It reminds me of the old coin Wild Growth into Shade of Naxxramas play. This is now Innovate, sort of Wild Growth, Jade Blossom into sort of Shade of Naxxramas, Tar Creeper. Okay, there's nothing like the play, but the same idea.
Other than the mana cost,
okay,
shut
up, Raven.
does Tar Creeper have to do with Shade of Nax?
You can stop talking.
Okay.
Tar Creeper's almost definitely going to come down this turn, though, unless Snail decides he really needs to get rid of that 2/2 to prevent Murloc synergy. This still seems fine. Even War Leader doesn't make that trade.
Can I talk again?
Yeah.
Okay, you said stop talking, so you never told me to start again.
I'm sorry. I don't really fancy solo casting the rest of this.
Rockpool is going to be okay as just a Murloc to get onto the board. You maybe start chipping away at this Tar Creeper, but with the True Silver Champion, I much more feel like it's going to be a Stonehill Defender this turn, then at worst you can run Stonehill plus True Silver next turn to kill off the Tar Creeper. Oh, there's the weird value play of Getaway Kodo, but is that really progressing you that far on the board? Because that means you have to trade into a Murloc into a 3-attack minion anyway.
As excited as we can get every time we say infinite value with the Getaway Coda there, you get another secret. Like, infinite value 2/2s isn't actually that good.
Yeah. I do feel like Stonehill is just better overall.
I
here.
agree.
It opens up more options for the following turn. I guess the idea here is if you go Murlocs into Kodo, then you have Gentle Megasaur next turn for potentially plus damage or a poisonous insta-kill. I feel like that could be a bit of a waste of the Megasaur when there's the Tar Creeper down.
Well, this is risky as well because cards like Wrath exist, cards like Swipe exist, and if one of these Murlocs does die to a spell, then yeah, the Megasaur's pretty useless next turn. And then what are you doing? You're playing Stonehill Defender or, I guess, True Silver Champion on 4.
Yeah. Which is what you could have done anyway with a Stonehill Defender behind it. And there's always the chance that with Stonehill, it doesn't die, and then you can play the Getaway Kodo to proc the Stonehill afterwards.
Zegantai going kind of all in on this Gentle Megasaur strategy here. I guess you could argue that if a Wrath is used, then Snail's not doing much else with his turn. Maybe he's expecting a Jade Spirit, and if Jade Spirit comes down and that's all, then yeah, Gentle Megasaur next turn could be pretty good. If the Murlocs gain attack, one kills the Tar Creeper, one hits the 1/1 or hits the face. He's still got more of a board.
Well, there's also Divine Shield and plus health that beat the Tar Creeper.
Yeah.
I would just be worried about one of the Murlocs dying and suddenly I
that's
end the turn with a 5/4. Not horrendous, but you also have True Silver Champion in your hand.
Gotta admit, Snail's turn not the easiest here. He is going to end up going for the Wrath. Maybe Hero Power and trading off the Rockpool Hunter. Doesn't have much time left to cue these actions, though.
Well, Hero Power happens, more than likely.
Yeah, of course.
It's probably not going to be Coin for our Rage Go phase 4. And it's going to trade off, not bad. This denies any further...
Okay,
yep. It's going to deny any further Murloc buffs happening, so War Leader coming down.
Because Grime Scout Chum just got picked up. That is a Murloc buff that can happen from the hand.
I'll remember that, Fun. I'll remember that, mate.
Well, you just said it's prevented any Murloc buffs, and that
on board
looks like a Murloc buff.
Okay.
To me.
Well, good for you. So True Silver does actually clear up this Tar Creeper probably in the best way it can. The problem with Tar Creeper, or when Tar Creeper gets the most value, is when it's forced either 0 trades, so your opponent just doesn't attack into it, or it forces like multiple little dudes trade into it. And you're like, well, this one minion, one card I put down, soaked either mana's worth of hero powers or 1 to 2 cheaper cards, and bought me time, which is all that the Jade Druid wants.
It's just fantastic against these more aggressive decks. The time that it's not as good is if there's a few Murlocs on the board that you need to deal with. The fact that it's only got 1 attack and therefore can't kill off the Murlocs to prevent the synergies can be a problem. But as you say, in this position, when Snail's had other ways of dealing with the card, it's been great. And now Snail's going to go ahead and play Nourish, draw some cards. His hand was looking a lot to be desired. And there we go. 2 Jade Idols.
And a Jade Spirit. But this turn from Segan Tiger's actually set up a good Finger. Here you've got Finger, then a follow-up with Megasaur, as well as potentially another Murloc or 2.
Right.
If a War Leader comes down.
Right. It's still got the classic current Finger problem in these decks where you might just get a 1-3 that does nothing from it. Whereas earlier we saw it in Token Druid, just win a game straight.
But that's what the Megasaur's for, right?
Yeah.
The Megasaur's going to come out afterwards and then buff everything that's on the board. So you can even chum into chum.
Chum into chum is looking pretty solid. Even if one buffs the other, great. 1 mana 3/2 that buffs another card.
And then Megasaur onto what, 4/5 Murloc?
Yeah.
Seems good to me. We might even see Snail not play a minion this turn. But the problem is if you don't play a minion this turn, what are you actually doing? You can ramp. You got to play a minion next turn. Or you're just going to die eventually.
Yeah, when do you play a minion? He's got the Primordial Drake, which he may decide to put down next turn as a minion with a lot of health that maybe Finger can't beat. Also, if Austria go wide, form a lot of small Murlocs that have 2 or less health, then the Primordial Drake could do some work. In fact, even after Finger procs, that Drake might clear everything up.
Yeah, so what Snail's done here is gone all in on these Jades. He's not going to be able to cycle Jade Idols anymore because he's used them both. So what this does is actually battle for this Finger board that is going to happen. Like I said, if you skip a minion this turn, you can't just win the game without minions, right? So Finger is going to get a strong turn and a kill at some point. What this does is say, okay, 4-4-3-3-2-2-2-3. This will be enough to kill these Murlocs. But we're about to find out if it will or not.
Well, it depends on the Gentle Megasaur, doesn't it? If it gives all Murlocs 3 additional health, it probably won't be enough to clear everything.
Also, as well, bear in mind, we've not seen War Leader or Bluegills at all. Not that Bluegills may not be in the deck at all, so that's
You're right.
fine. But War Leader's the biggie.
Okay, there's a War Leader. Okay, if only Cold Light Seer got its battle cry. Can you imagine?
I don't want to imagine a world in which Cold Light Seer gets battle cries from Finger. Look at this though.
He wants health.
Adapt into Divine Shield's good.
Divine Shield? Stealth Divine Shield? Yeah, Divine Shield's probably the one.
Divine Shield's kind of like stealth anyway, right?
No, it's not.
Against a Druid.
A swipe would be pretty frustrating here, but Primordial Drake not actually going to do much at all.
I'd be reasonably okay with swipe. You can kill the War Leader, actually, I guess not. All I mean is swipe is over half the turn's worth of mana.
Right, that's true.
So it's swipe and then 3-drop, go. And there's still Chum, there's still Hydrologist, there's still Stonehill Defender in hand.
The worst thing about Primordial Drake is that it actually takes up 8 mana, the entire turn plus the coin even. So it's like that and then make some trades. Get rid of the War Leader. Okay, great.
Well, to be fair...
He can't get rid of the War Leader and Finger, can he?
No.
That's really bad.
I wonder how many more Murlocs are left. There's probably another Tidecaller. There's another Seer, more than likely. And another War Leader. That's probably it, right?
So, yeah, but Finger survives. Maybe pulls out the second War Leader.
You can trade into Finger if he wants to.
Or the War Leader.
Yeah.
But which do you prefer to get rid of?
Probably the War Leader.
I think so
Then another
too.
War Leader is going to come out.
So Finger survives. He could get rid of the Tidecaller. That's probably important.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah. It worked like a swipe.
Sure.
Oh, seems good.
That was pretty well timed.
Wow. chum it first?
Yeah, I guess so. Why
The
not?
difference here is you could play the Stonehill Defender if you really want. It's just a speed bump to defend the Murlocs. I think chum is fine this turn. At worst, you just don't play the Hydrologist.
I think, yeah, playing the Murlocs just seems pretty good. You're going to get as much Murloc synergy as you ever can. The next Gentle Megasaur might not get any value. That being said, I don't think we make it that far into the game. Snail is going to struggle to remove these things.
Yeah, I think at worst you can just skip the Hydrologist this turn. You play Hydrologist for the secret mon and everything, because Stonehill Defender's kind of nice just to say, well, you can't really interact with my board that well.
Snail just rolled his eyes. He is not enjoying this very much. Finja going to trade in. It is going to die. Let's see what else pops out.
Oh, okay. Nice. Big board.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't count anymore. The board's too big.
This board's not going anywhere. Getaway Kodo.
Interesting that Getaway Kodo was the option, because if a Murloc dies, the Murloc has to be War Leader or the Redemption gets the buff, right?
Yeah.
You know, it just because that becomes really awkward. Redemption's not a 1 health anymore because it gets buffed by the Murloc. So, I don't know, maybe Redemption could have been okay there.
Getaway Kodo is great, though, because the minion that has the least health is actually Gentle Megasaur. Imagine if that gets killed first.
It's just never getting killed. You'd wrath your own face before you kill that Gentle Megasaur. But you'd wrath your own face for 1 to draw a card before you killing that Megasaur.
You're probably right, though I don't think Argentina has any good play. Gonna get rid of the Tide Cooler there. Then returns the hand. The Feral Rage to armor. Nope, he's gotta kill the War Leader. How much damage?
14, I think. 15. Yeah, 14.
14, yeah.
Well, 2 damage. That's 1.
That's 1. It's not. Doesn't quite.
Any Stonehill into any taunt that buffs? I don't think so, right? There are no taunt minions that buff.
I don't think so.
The closest thing is the Protector, but that's buffed with Divine Shield, not
Yeah.
damage. I mean, you can still put him to 1. Seems good to me.
I mean, how do Argentina win this game? They get Auctioneer into Wild Growth next turn. They can draw 3 cards. Great. Then what? With your 4 mana remaining. 2 mana remaining, sorry. They get an Innovate. Great. A Swipe. Awesome. They don't just die.
Ziegentag just... Look at exactly which taunt he wants. Which is the flashiest card to put in your hand whilst you win this game?
Sunwalker's pretty flashy.
Yeah. Kind of retro as well.
Yeah, retro flashy.
Like old arcade games.
So, Austria are going to go ahead, put Snail down to 1 health, and say, good luck.
Have fun.
Aya, fantastic card. Terrible here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any cards that are good in this instance, unless Reno's snuck back into the game.
Now, once again, I think it was all on the top deck Yogg-Saron, which just didn't happen. It's not gonna do anything.
I just love Yogg-Saron.
It's a Jade Druid. It's a legitimate consideration.
Okay, well, Austria's there. I think there are teams that can topple Russia, but I do know what you mean. Russia are currently at the top of the group, so if they continue winning, then everyone loses to Russia, which means no one lost to Russia to a certain extent.
So, Raven, you were talking about this Miracle Rogue, or this Control... Rogue? Miracle or Control Priest that kind of sits there and doesn't do anything. This Binding Heal seems to be that type of card and is probably very, very good against Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, it could be just a tech choice, but it's more likely it's some kind of combo priest, double pyro, etc., etc. But is it going to be good enough against Pirate Warrior? Because the problem is, look at this hand. Radiant. I think the key is actually Radiant Elemental into Shield on turn 1.
It's just stupid, isn't it? That play is just so powerful.
Yeah.
A 2 mana, 2/7 on turn 2 or turn 1, sorry, with the coin against the Pirate Warrior. Pirate Warrior that picked up patches.
Strict misplay.
Yeah.
Drawing patches, I believe.
Clearly,
so I'm told.
clearly, Life Coach's coaching wasn't quite good enough. Didn't prevent Wife Coach from picking up patches sometimes.
But this opening, though, it's just multifaceted. The power of this elemental. It can be coined out on 1, and then option number 1. you double powered shield, you gain +4, so it becomes a 2/7, and you draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. A 2/7 on turn 1 versus Pirate Warrior, and you refill your hand. It shouldn't be allowed.
Now Gaiden was just sitting there laughing for a second.
It's like, yeah, I mean, seems good.
Shadow Word Death also implies that it's definitely not a Silence Priest. It's another card that we don't see often in that class at all. I'm looking forward.
Wife Coach
in that
cannot
deck
believe it. I'm sorry. Like, she's just like, okay, guys, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now because this shouldn't happen.
Am I allowed to concede yet, team? Or?
Yeah, this is. Although, you know, let's be honest. Fiery War Axe, Arcanite Reaper, Corcoran Elite, all, you know, it starts to add up to a lot of damage, right? So we can see that there are answers to Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Death, even Shadow Visions to scout for and pull, you know, a key card, maybe like the heal that we saw in the opening hand. But you cannot underestimate the power of Arcanite Reaper when it starts getting upgraded, because that is just an absurd amount of damage.
That's true. The only problem for Wife Coach is that she's going to have a 2/7 chipping away at everything she plays, probably for the remainder of this game. Plus, the decreased price in spells. We've been talking about Sorcerer's Apprentice a lot today. Turns out it's even stronger in Priest.
What? Yeah, Wild Pyro being drawn. Not too much of a surprise. Not going to use this turn. I imagine we're going to see Shadow Visions here. As trade into heal, it's okay. But next turn, you're looking at playing Talon Priest anyway.
Yeah.
So you may as well Shadow Visions, I think.
Agree. Let's see what we can get from it. No shields left in the deck, it's worth saying. Shadow Word Pain, Potion of Madness, and Dragonfire Potion are the 3 options here. All 3 are okay against Pirate Warrior. Potion of Madness, particularly good.
Yep, Potion of Madness, very good. But are there that many targets?
Well, Potion of Madness is better like before Patches comes out. Like, if you can catch a deckhand into Patches with Potion of Madness, that's great. Shadow Word Pain, probably the more consistent pick here. Dragonfire Potion's a little bit too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, Dragonfire could be your option if you want to say, that is my final clear to win the game.
Yeah.
But having 2 pains, a 3rd pain in the deck means that, you know, you're probably feeling pretty good about just spot killing every single thing that is played on this board. Now, Bloodsail Raider, an option here for Wife Coach, and her only option, to be honest. And suddenly, this hand is still not good, but when you start adding up the damage, that's 26 without the Raider.
Right. The Raider
is something to consider, right?
The Raider's just going to get hit by Shadow Word Death. Which is kind of ironic when you think about it. There's 2 pains in the hand, and Death is going to be killing a 2-drop. So it makes you wonder when these pains are actually going to get used. There's the Dragonfire Potion that we saw just a moment ago. But you're right, that's a lot of damage. Now, Gaiden would have probably liked to see his Binding Heal show up in the Shadow Visions there.
Yep. Just be able to heal up this Elemental now, because Team Austria and Wife Coach have actually took a alternate route. I was thinking, okay, I have charging minions and weapons in my hand. Let's get him and just go face and try and race. But Wife Coach has actually put a swing into the Elemental, set up for his 2nd swing if not healed, and the idea is if it's healed, the turn's probably pretty mediocre anyway. If Shadow Word Death comes down, then even with the Elemental reduction, the Elemental then cannot be healed, so the weapon swing goes off. Very, very high-level play, actually. Just setting up a semi-checkmate here for this Elemental, at least.
Yeah, it is very important for Team Austria that the Elemental does get destroyed. As you mentioned a moment ago, Binding Heal is just stupid on this, healing the face and healing the minion to 5, back up to a 2/7 again. Yep. That seems pretty good. Now Gaiden gonna go with the Talon Priest, not actually afraid of the damage. And as you said a moment ago, there's a lot of damage in Wife Coach's hand, not including this Bloodsail Raider. That, did you say 28?
26.
26? Well, that extra 5 brings it up to 31.
Yep. But -3 because she swung with the weapon.
Right, of course, of course.
But yeah, you know, any damage you can eke out is great. And even now, you might see one of those tricky plays. Is there a way to do it, actually, if you trade there? No, there isn't. Maybe next turn. A lot of the time versus Priests, I'm going to drop a knowledge bomb for you here, Falk. You want to just trade 1 minion to another minion once when Frothing hits to make it a 4/4 for the turn it's played, and then it can attack and you buff it as much as possible.
Right.
Just to make it as safe as possible versus the Priest, but
Shadow Word Death is a card that exists, and we all know about 4 attack minions.
This is really nice as well. these small decisions are very, very impactful here, and it's why people dismiss Pirate Warrior. Oh, go face. And I know earlier I was saying, well, let's count up the damage. Sometimes you can go face, but look at this. They've killed the Elemental, they've curved perfectly into Arcanite Reaper, and they've set up a point where this Talon Priest can only trade into one of these minions. Yes, there's a death, so both the minions were answered, but look, empty board.
You're right, those trades have been very, very intelligent, and I would say Wife Coach is still in a tough spot here. She's going to have to try and win fast, and obviously we know that Argentina has the tools to prevent her from winning, but he has to pick up this Binding Heal first. He has to pick up and spend the turns healing himself. So it is possible that Arcanite Reaper, with the help of Leroy and I guess Frothing Berserker, is enough to just take
even more now, Cultist.
Yeah.
One more Pirate draw next turn. Boom.
Right,
extra durability, extra damage. So it just makes the damage from that weapon so much more substantial, and it already is strong. Then you add in Leroy from hand, which Priest can't answer.
Yeah.
You don't prep a Leroy, you just play it and smoke.
Yeah.
I do like the Reaper this turn. There's always a fear of weapon removal, but you can't play around weapon removal because you just won't play any good cards then.
There's also the fear of Shadow Word Pain, which Wife Coach hasn't seen yet. I would say the fact that Argentina took a Shadow Word Pain from the Shadow Visions is probably a pretty obvious thing. So she'll know there's probably one in the hand. I really do like the Arcanite Reaper here. She's actually holding on to it, going full in with the plan of buffing up this weapon with the Blood Cell Cultist, maximizing damage output.
Yep. Also just controlling the board, because as I said earlier, this style of Priest often doesn't do anything progressive, it just doesn't die, and then combos into silly Lyra things. Look at this though, already the buff is live, and you can play the Frothing, but the Frothing only gets to become a 3. Does play around Potion Madness though.
Yeah, but this play is great. Dread Corsair, Blood Cell Cultist, and Frothing Berserker all going onto the board.
You have to trade though.
Yeah, the weapon has to get rid of that. The only punish is the card that we see in now Guidance hand.
Yeah, this is how you play around it though. You play 3 minions that can be pained, and presume they've not drawn 2 pains.
I mean Dragonfire Potion.
Oh, you're talking about Dragonfire, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you meant that for the Frothing, but Dragonfire is rough.
Maybe you don't trade. Because if Dragonfire Potion is the main thing that you're afraid of, then what's the point?
That's true. We can see that trade pain will clear up the board regardless.
Yeah.
So we can see Nowgodin actually has an answer no matter what happens. I do think overall with this plan that Wife Coach has been playing out so far, trading feels correct.
Yep.
Yeah, you get blown up by Dragonfire. But also, well, there's still 18 damage in hand.
Ooh,
20 damage in hand.
That's not a bad draw, actually. It's gonna just eat up a Shadow Word Pain, but it's just that extra little bit of chip damage that could make the difference. Only 12 left from the Arcanite Reaper. Does Wife Coach ever hold on to the Salty deckhand and maybe get another Cultist?
100%. I think you armor upswing. What does the deckhand even do? It's never going to live.
And you don't... Wife Coach doesn't win without upgrading the weapon again, I think.
Or you just draw another one.
Oh yeah, that works too. But there's 2 upgrades in the deck still, and another Dark Blood Cell Cultist.
Yep.
No, not a Dark Cultist. That's definitely not in the deck.
But yeah, with deckhand, you push 2. Deckhand always does 2, and it could be worth additional. Oh, gonna deckhand into a 1/1.
Ah, yeah, that works. And Leroy almost can't be dealt with.
Or maybe even not.
It can with Pyromancer.
I mean, sorry, maybe you don't even deckhand into a 1/1.
Oh, yeah.
I think you do have to go for it.
Yeah. If there was no Pyromancer here... Oh, and Shadow Word Death as well. Okay, so now Gaiden actually has several different ways of getting rid of it. Though, he's still down to 11 health, and that upgrade effect would still be massive for Wife Coach.
Also as well, let's be honest. Yeah, now Gaiden can answer this Leroy. What else are you doing? A whole lot of nothing, to be honest.
Yeah, just healing himself.
Yeah, it's like...
Maybe dropping the card.
So great, you know, okay, my Leroy's dead. Leroy did 6. Leroy normally only does 6, right? So, yeah, it kills it, but you don't really develop any threats at all. Wife Coach is on 19, but again, not really a threat. We can see Inner Fire in the hand. But, you know, with our ultimate caster vision that we see double paying Pyro, it's not going to do much in terms of aggressive. So it just gives Wife Coach more and more turns to draw into these upgrades, into these other weapons as well.
Yeah, Wife Coach probably expected this to happen, but dealing the damage now does it, frees up her mana, and if the Leroy couldn't be dealt with, then she just wins the game. So it makes sense to take the risk.
This is kind of funny because you can't get value from the Cleric either. Like, you can't draw any cards. There's upgrade.
Oh my goodness.
You saw, and this happens, like, you saw Wife Coach just lean forward a bit and go, hey-oh, got him. So there's an upgrade. There is still not enough with the heal.
It's going to be one off, isn't it?
But think of the cards. Another Deckhand, another Corcoran, another
upgrade,
upgrade.
a Mortal Strike, a Heroic Strike. There's actually a lot. Naga Corsair even.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many. So many cards from the Pirate Warrior deal
Binding heal off the top, I bet. Close.
Actually, now Gaiden could just go for it. While Pyromancer...
You have to.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you can do, right?
Pain your own 1/1.
No one is ever confident saying, I bet this Pirate Warrior doesn't draw 1 damage this turn. But this is really janky, right?
In a fire, yeah, that makes sense.
I know, maybe you pain the 1/1? Ooh.
That's not gonna do it. So now Gaiden just has to heal himself up and
Cross
hope for
the old
best.
fingers.
Wife Coach,
Oh!
she's clapping, rubbing her hands together. Blazzocotis is not gonna do it on its own. Now what? Because, okay, great, she could just hold the weapon and upgrade next turn, but then it's still not gonna be enough damage.
Do you play the Cultist?
I don't think you play the Cultist, because there's the damage on the board to deal with it, so there's not really any point.
You need to draw a Pirate. The problem is there is still an Exhaust First Mates on the board.
I think you just hit.
I
think you just hit.
Yeah.
Because then you've still got the chance of drawing a Fiery Warx, a Heroic Strike, a second Arcanite Reaper.
The scary thing is it's so much draw potential for No Gaiden. Circle of Healing.
Yeah.
Any spell. You know?
I mean, the second Pyromancer as well. That in itself is going to allow Gaiden to draw another card or two.
Can instantly draw 2 with heal, but then at least you're not worried about heal on the Cleric.
Yeah.
Because although it's possible, you ain't healing your Cleric the next turn.
I think so.
You put to 1.
I definitely agree with this play from Wife Coach. It gives her the highest percentage of outs, but now it's down to Gaiden. If he can draw what he needs, Holy Nova is going to allow him to draw 3 more cards, plus another one, because the Wild Pyromancer will go off, proccing the Acolyte.
May as well be 18 cards at this point. This one draw could change everything in an extremely close game. What are the draws? Shadow of Pain, pointless.
Priest of the Feast.
Can't combo with the spell this turn.
Pointless this turn.
Binding
There we go.
Heal.
That's the one.
I'm pushing by this. Binding Heal draws an additional card.
Look at now Gaiden just, you know, putting his hand on his brow.
I think you Binding Heal the Pyro, right?
Yeah.
You want it alive.
Yeah, sure. Or the Cleric, I guess. Doesn't really matter.
It does, because Pyro dies.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because you want a minion with 3 attack, right? I've heard that's pretty good to deal with Pirate Warrior minions and just go face.
Suddenly, Wife Coach's outs have been dramatically reduced to, I think, 0 for this turn. She's not going to win this turn. If she picks up Arcanite Reaper right now, she still has a chance.
In her eyes.
In her eyes.
But Priest of the Feast. Look at that as well.
This got so close. Considering the incredibly strong start that now Gaiden had, this got really, really close. It was a real nail biter.
Yeah, turn 1,
2-7.
what was it, 2-7?
Yep.
Elemental versus Pirate Warrior that didn't particularly start too well.
2 patches.
Yeah. That game should just be a done dusted and be over, but the navigation of this game by Wife Coach and Team Austria in general was actually pretty incredible. This is like you can go back and watch this VOD again for a masterclass on how to control Pirate Warrior.
Next time someone tells you that Pirate Warrior is a brainless deck, just show them this VOD.
There were multiple cards that could have won Wife Coach the game here, but Also, Nogardon been navigating this very, very well himself alongside Team Argentina, because now, with the help of a good couple of draws there, has stabilized pretty much at this point. Wife Coach can just play the 2-3 drops out and build a bit of a board, but just feels frustrating with all the means on 1 health.
Yeah.
You have to, though, right?
Yeah, you have to. Unfortunately, it doesn't get you anywhere because you can see the entire board will trade away as long as the captain's dealt with first. Now Gaiden picks up Lyra, giving him even more potential for healing, though Priest in the Feast probably going to do the trick on its own.
Yep, Priest into Shadowword Pain's probably going to be concede from Austria, as this is just insurmountable now. Also, regardless of whether Austria could do the damage, Argentina will be able to get lethal quicker at this point, because with so many big trades that have been happening with the weapons by Wife Coach, Austria are down to 15 health, so yeah. So close, but so far, as Argentina are going to take this win off the back of a 1 health total save.
Yeah. He was at 1 health. Look at that smile from now Gaiden. Well deserved. Very, very happy team there for Argentina as they take their 2nd win of the series.
Yeah, there's the flex. And I guess it's called Murloc Paladin. I still don't know what people are calling this list because the list is so similar but so different. But they have Murlocs in them, so no one can argue that it is indeed a Murloc Paladin.
Well, Grimescale Chum indicates that it is the aggressive style of the deck, which means we've got pretty much the exact same matchup that we had earlier. The other way around, though.
Except Jade Idol, Jade Blossom, Jade Spirit with the coin.
It's an okay start, that, isn't it?
I would think it would be reasonable, yes.
Yeah. That's nice curve.
Yep, it's not too shabby. Valfin Inquisitor and Grimscale Chum. Not too much of a beginning either, so it's not going to look too bad. Consecrate probably going to be... Consecrate was post-Mulligan. I apologize. I thought that was pre-Mulligan.
And there's a second one.
Ooh. Okay. Well, Johnny Stone's probably going to be feeling pretty good about his opening. There might be a couple of odd moments as he sees Ildama's opening, but once he starts to see the sort of drop-off points, turn 3 and turn 4, you're like, okay, give me 3 turns.
Already a tough decision on turn 1 for Ildama. Do you play the Chum, turn your Inquisitor into a 2-4 and play that next turn, or do you play the card that trades well against Jade Idol on turn 1? It's actually not easy, is it? Chum is great if if 3rd 1-drop is picked up on turn 2. Otherwise, it's kind of a bit of a waste. Then again, Chum will be absolutely a waste if no other Murloc is picked up anytime soon.
Yeah, what you got to think about as well is Vilefin becomes out of range of Wrath, which I feel is important.
That's true.
Because if your opponent's thinking, I've got to swipe this Vilefin, you're like, okay, enjoy.
So, pretty obvious play here from Johnny Stone. Not much discussion required for Team Austria. Gonna go ahead and play his first Jade. Eldamir picking up Stonehill Defender. Means having to play a 1-mana card on turn 2, but you don't mind. It's pretty much the stats of a good 2-mana card now, thanks to the Grimescale Chum.
Yeah, it's still a 1-mana 2-4 at the end of the day, which is more powerful than some 2-drops.
Yeah.
Wild Growth now,
goodness.
Not too shabby.
The game is just giving Johnny Stone the best possible curve.
I think, I was going to say, I still think coin into Jade Blossom is correct.
Too, yeah.
Wild Growth is just nice for those middling turns if it's a bit dead. Though the curve, it's one of those weird things, right? I was just about to say, if Johnny Stone draws cards to curve out, the Wild Growth is a bit of a waste. But he's probably happy he's drawn cards to curve out. If he doesn't curve out, the Wild Growth helps him push towards this Volcanic Drake.
What is going on with these
Primordial Drake, sorry.
Yeah. What is going on with these Stonehill defenders today? I feel as though we haven't seen Tyrion, Sunkeeper Tarim, or Wickerflame once today. Cursed. We've cursed them somehow.
Yeah. We talk about how powerful the Stonehill Defender is for Paladin because of these taunt minions that is just so good in the form of the legendaries. And to be fair, Grime Street Protector is as close to a legendary taunt as you're going to get. That guy is awesome. But we haven't seen him too often.
Yeah, as Lorinda put it, it's the one you take when you don't have any of the better options.
It's the best non-legendary option.
Lorinda claims that he always gets terrible options from these discovers. I reckon you've cursed it when you put Murloc Neil on the side there.
Potentially, but Murloc Neil's not going anywhere. He's chirpier than regular Neil. Lil Neely.
Maybe Murloc Neil does get better options from Discovery.
I would call him Lil Neilio, but Neilio's actually a player, so that would get kind of confusing and maybe even a little bit weird.
All right, well, Jade Spirit is still sitting there, ready to go.
Yeah. Again, this just curves very, very nicely indeed. You're not really under too much pressure here from Ildeme, so I think you're okay just dropping Spirit, building up those Jades. Next turn could be the dead turn, so to speak, which means you can go Wild Growth Wrath, even if you just Wrath to draw, for example, and see what's what.
Right.
But I think that's not a terribly awful turn when you follow up with Jade Behemoth into the Primordial Drake. I think what Team Austria and Johnny Stone are considering is Wild Growth into Jade Behemoth better than just slamming Jade Druid this turn. Sorry, Jade Spirit. Slamming a Jade Druid. Okay, now you've got to play a second game of Hearthstone versus this Jade Druid card.
Yeah. It's definitely not an easy decision to make, but Jade Spirit it's so comfortable. It fits the curve very nicely. It does maybe mess up next turn a little, make next turn not as good, but he can use next turn to play the Wrath, remove something, and maybe he'll pick up something else in the meantime. Imagine if he gets a Tar Creeper now. Perfect. Works out.
Jade Spirit is snug as a jade in the shade.
Jade in the shade?
Yeah. Couldn't rhyme it with rug.
Yeah.
Again, not too much pressure going down. The true silver champion trading into the Jade is actually just fine, I think, for Johnny Stone here. I think he's just like, yeah, okay, awesome.
It's not a great position to be in now. His Jade Spirit doesn't trade well into the taunt that's on the board. Wrath and Swipe both feel a little bit underwhelming as a turn 5 play. He could Wrath and Hero Power the Stonehill Defender, trade the Jade Spirit into the 2/2, but that still feels very, very weak. It's going to get much better next turn with the Jade Behemoth. The Jades are really ramping up now and getting much bigger. But for now, it's just a little bit underwhelming. Meanwhile, Tauren Warrior is in Ildeme's hand, and that's also underwhelming.
Yeah, the only benefit for that specific taunt is that it's cheap enough that versus Jade Druid, it's an extra minion you can probably just throw onto the board. You know, you don't really care, but it's cheap enough to just whip into a turn. You just drop it, it's a 2/3. Might be an issue if it gets enraged. Other than that, it's just a pest more than anything.
Yeah.
Bok?
Okay, Blessing of King Bok.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, did you not play WoW?
No.
Ah, okay, yeah.
I did, but casually.
Oh, okay. So I used to main a paladin. So Blessing of Kings in the raid used to be my job. So it was just, we need Bok. We need Bok.
Right.
Is all I used to get told. So yeah, that card is called Bok to me.
All right. I'll bear that. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
But Ildama may be bocking up the Stonehill Defender this turn. That seems very, very strong. What's that? 5/6.
Yeah.
1/2 becomes a 5/6. Seems good.
Yeah, I think we also shouldn't use that phrase anymore because that sounded like a very aggressive term. He's going to Bok that Stonehill Defender. And it's like, okay, he's going to Blessing of Kings onto the Stonehill Defender to buff it up and gain health.
You taught me the word.
I taught you the word, okay. I remember that.
Never heard Bok before.
You have from a chicken.
And from Lorinda.
There you go. Who may be a chicken. Thinking.
Might need to investigate that.
Noish, not great this turn, but great to follow up. Jade Behemoth can be played just to say, yep, ramp up the Jades, get an awkward minion in the way of this Stonehill who's just been to the gym, basically, to buff it up this much. You can still follow up with Primordial Drake, and if you don't want to Drake...
I'm just thinking
I just keep saying Jake. Jake!
He went to the gym to get boxed up.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, anyway, if the board doesn't lend itself to Primordial Drake, then you can just Nourish Draw and then go from there. You know, this Nourish is actually very, very good at this exact point in the game when you're running out of cards in your hand.
Yeah, going to go ahead and play the Consecration. They're not going to be any good later unless there's a random equality in hand. And Bluegill Warrior is going to go ahead and deal with Jake. Sorry.
Jake isn't even down. Jake's the Drake.
Oh.
Like Jake the Snake.
Just spreading around the word. Just call all minions Jake.
Yep, okay. Well, Swipe... this is very awkward, actually. Swipe seems very clean, except it means you follow up his Hero Power Pass, which sucks. So, maybe you just Nourish?
Well, you definitely don't Nourish for mana.
I mean, I'll agree with you on this one. Yeah, you probably don't Nourish for mana this turn.
Swipe. Swipe feels necessary because you've only got 13 health. But
Maybe
then,
you just Drake.
But then you're allowing Ildama to put more stuff on the board, which you then have to deal with. I don't mind Drake.
Maybe just swipe and say, okay. He's had one card in his hand for most of the game now in that Consecrate. Still a turn away from Tyrion.
Yeah.
So you're not terrified. So yeah, maybe you do just swipe here and say, okay, well, you know, because 3 is an awkward number for Druid, right?
Yeah.
There's Jade Blossom, Feral Rage. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
So Nourish this turn would have been super awkward. Nourish next turn becomes way better because 4, there's more stuff, right? There's Fandral, there's another swipe potentially. There's even just Jade Spirit. There's, you can do more with it.
I was racking my brains last turn to work out if there's any way that Johnny Stone could justify playing the Nourish, but no, I completely agree.
You're not going to draw anything that does anything, right? Like,
I think swipe was the only answer, and now he's got to hope that there's nothing huge coming from Ildama. There isn't yet, but the Gentle Megasaur may do some work. He gets the option for attack. Does that play into swipe too much? We've just seen one swipe.
yeah, if it was me, I would want to close this game out. So I would fancy +3. You've just seen a swipe, and you've also seen swipe hero power. There's no Jade Spirit. There's nothing on the to play onto the board that worries you. And the only consideration is that probably would have been a bad Primordial Drake turn if you had swipe.
Yeah.
So maybe you think, okay, we go +1/+1. But if you look at it, there is only the token that dies to Drake anyway.
The difference
so who
isn't even that huge.
Yeah.
Like swipe would be slightly worse for Ildama with this. But yeah, the Drake only gets rid of the 4/1 token that's on the board, which means that the 4/3 Murloc and the Megasaur are just going to be able to trade away the Drake nicely.
Even through Scales.
Even through the Earthen Scales.
The Scales feels really good here because, yeah, gain 5 armor, make the Drake a 5/9, and clear off the 4/1. But because it's exactly 5/9, the attacks just... The Drake dies to just the board, the 2 minions on board anyway,
So
never mind what your opponent's got.
I wonder if Johnny and Team Austria save the Earthen Scales because he knows it doesn't make a huge difference. Maybe next turn, the Jades get a bit bigger. Maybe Nourish into Jade Spirit into Earthen Scales is an option.
It is a close one, but I think because it doesn't make a difference to the trade, as you said.
Yeah.
And also, I'm pretty sure Team Austria are terrified of Tyrion this turn.
Yeah.
There's been that Consecrate in the hand all game, and now we hit turn 8.
Well, and the Tauren Warrior, which came from the Stonehill Defender.
That's true.
That could easily be Tyrion as well. There could be 2 Tyrions in the hand. Now there's obviously not 2 Tyrions.
This sick trade.
Yeah.
Valfin, along with that Consecrate, is going to give Austria the knowledge that that card in the left was in fact not a minion. Drake, numero 2.
That's a great pickup, and this time you may consider playing the Earthen Scales because you're so desperate for armor. That being said, hero powering up is probably fine. It's very unlikely that you actually die this turn, and you're able to get rid of the Murloc War Leader this way with 5 health remaining. Both Consecrations are gone as well.
Paladin not known for its 5 damage burst.
No. Unless there's a Holy Wrath in the deck, which seems very unlikely.
You never know.
That's where we see Hemet and Holy Wrath.
With Molten Giant left in the deck.
Right, exactly.
Boom!
Exactly. Okay, suddenly things are looking better for Johnny Stone.
This got good. And this is, I think this is actually less down to the Jade's draws being great, because frankly, the Drakes kept them in it.
Yep.
But the double Nourish didn't do enough because they're under so much pressure. But then, Eldamar on the Paladin just ran out of juice. Empty hand. You don't even see that often as Paladin.
And you have to feel bad for him having the Tauren Warrior as well. Maybe Grime Street Protector should have been the pick from the...
Could have been 2 Divine
defender.
Shielded Murlocs.
There could have been, and a 6/6 with Taunt.
Yeah.
That would have certainly been a better board than what Ildama has here. He opted for the card that fits into curves better, and it didn't seem to pay off for the time being. It's still possible for Ildama to pick this game up, but he's going to have a lot of work to do as Johnny Stone has the ability to gain, what's that, 13?
I don't think you do gain it, though. I think you play the Jade Spirit and the Earthen Scales.
Well, I'm saying he has the option to gain like 20 armor this turn with Feral Rage and double Earthen Scales.
Okay, going to skip the Jade Spirit. Going to go for the removal option instead, which is the other side to that coin to a certain extent.
Whoa, hold on a moment.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's scary. It shouldn't be scary because there's no way that Ildama...
Bark!
wins. But this is what the best players in the world do. They don't mind putting themselves down to 1 health if they know their opponent isn't going to have a way of dealing 1 health.
Imagine just, oh my god, what's the card? What's the Hammer of Wrath?
Yeah, right.
Imagine Hammer of Wrath ripped off the top. It's just Hammer of Wrath face game.
So Jade Spirit plus double Earthen Scale should seal the deal here. Tyrion still exists in Argentina's deck, though. Is Tyrion even enough?
Oh look, Doc. Druid of the Claw.
Fucking Doc.
Bot the Doc.
I mean, I've called Fan of Knives Fock.
We're not going there, Falk.
Genuinely.
Spike Rich Steed onto the Hero Powered Murloc is reasonable. I'm going to at least slow the return onslaught down from Johnny Stone and this Jade Druid. Gadget Zan, though, it's just like,
Double
okay,
Gadget Zan
final nail just got hammered into the coffin there. Gadget Zan plus Innovate plus whatever the hell Johnny Stone wants to do.
Looks like he's going to take this back for Team Austria. It is going to go to the ace match. Again, nail-biting games earlier, nail-biting game here, nail-biting series is a more accurate way to describe this. I don't know who's going to take this away.
Me neither, but, we're still going to get this game over, to be fair. This does look like Johnny Stone is in great control. I think Ildima's going to see what his next draw is, just to say, okay, if it is Tyrion, is the Ashbringer just enough because there just aren't that many taunts left in the deck? Probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to ask yourself these questions, right? And for one of an extra 3 to 5 minutes in the game, you play it out.
Oh yeah, there's no point in conceding just for the heck of it.
But this one draw will probably decide things for Team Argentina. Okay, Rockpool.
Yeah, okay. That's
Not today, friend. Maybe 15 turns ago.
But there's also no point in wasting time.
Yeah, he does when he is not on the camera playing Hearthstone.
That's what I
just
do.
shakes around.
That's what I do when the camera's not. I'm doing it right now.
He's lying to you, chat. He's lying. But we are going to get into the last game of this series. It's going to go one way or the other. PNC rocking the ace match for Argentina and Johnny Stone taking on the pressure for Austria. It's going to be Hunter versus the Quest Rogue. Hunter build still very interesting to me here, as I still don't think they're quite decided. The Unleash the Hound's not going to be too good for PNC, but what is good with Hunter is when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, GG.
Oh my goodness, with the 3 being Rat Pack and the 4 being Houndmaster, which has pretty good synergy with Rat Pack. Yeah, on the other side, Johnny Stone picking up Shadow Step and Firefly nice and early. 2 of the cards that you definitely do like having nice and early. No reason to play the Caverns below on turn 1. Firefly is just fine. You can complete the quest with Flame Elementals. So just putting this down, putting a body on the board, and actually this will contest Jordan McCaw if that's the way PNC decides to go.
Yep, this is a very, very common play with Quest Rogue, where you don't actually play the quest on the turn 1 against an aggressive opening from your opponent. You do want to get minions down to start dealing with the board.
PNC seems pretty happy with the 8-mana 7/7 with charge.
The charge
that he picked up there.
Saw.
Can't go face, obviously. That's the
obviously.
That's the condition.
It obviously can't go face, except every other minion with charge can.
I said obviously because it's written on the card.
Can you read the card from here?
No.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so it might be able to go face.
It does not go face, unless it's silenced, of course.
Oh, doesn't it? Okay. It also goes face if someone from Free From Amber, which is kind of weird because obviously it's actually Battle Cry cannot attack face. Cannot attack face.
It's just not the turn it's summoned, right?
From Free From Amber, it actually can attack the face. That's something to remember if you ever get it as an option from that card.
I know who's been playing Free From Amber.
Spent a couple weeks on that deck.
Nice. Yeah, it's neutral as well, so it's it's just a neutral beast. It's gonna come out there now and again. There we go.
There we go. Thank you, production. And it turns out it can't attack heroes this turn, and it's a battle cry. There you go.
Yeah, we never knew. But yeah, you can see already these Firefly and the Flame Elemental getting some work done, at least in just contesting the board. The quest is down now. Mimic Pod is an option, and we see Johnny Stone taking the wispier approach to this list, and has that free 0-mana 1/1. Very easy to use with bouncers that aren't Shadow Step. Well, it's very easy to use with Shadow Step, but easier to use with the bouncers that cost 2, because you don't have to worry about having that 3rd mana to play them on that turn.
So do you think this means Wisps and Doomsayers as opposed to Tolvir Stone Shapers?
Yeah, I've not seen a list that runs wisps and shapers.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
It start to like a poem, that doesn't it?
Wisps and
I've not seen a list that runs wisps and shapers. I have to think. I'll think of a second line and bring it to you next time on
All right.
HGG. It'll be next week as well.
Great.
I'm gonna write a poem
I look forward to hearing it.
about wisps, lists, and shapers.
Don't forget. I'll be annoyed if you forget.
Okay, I won't. Poem incoming next week, promise. But yeah, I've not seen a list that runs both, right? It's just normally, because this list might even not run Igneous Elemental, for example.
Right.
So it's just not relying on that condition.
Yeah, I think it probably does because it runs Firefly and Flame Elemental. And
You always run Firefly, man.
yeah, but then how can you not run Igneous Elemental just to complete
Just
the
don't
quest?
click it into your deck, Falk. That's how.
I understand how physically you
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood.
mentally, why do you make that decision?
Why do people make any decisions, Falk?
Oh my goodness, Raven. Right, Mimic Pod is an option this turn. The rest of Johnny Stone's hand is looking a little bit sour. So 2 Vanish. It's okay against Savannah Highmane, and it's okay against cards that have been buffed up by Houndmaster.
Also, as well, once the quest is live, you can still vanish. One of the big plays with Wisp is you can actually go like Wisp, Wisp, Vanish, Wisp, Wisp, pop the quest.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can do like weird stuff like that because Wisp costs 0 mana. You don't even have to account it in terms of your turn. If you use your 6 mana turn to vanish, even 7 mana turn, you can still go Vanish, Wisp, Wisp, and put 2 5/5s onto the board when your opponent's hand has been thrown back into them.
So if Johnny Stone did actually pick up the second Wisp next turn, then he could go Wisp, Wisp, coin, Vanish, Wisp, Wisp, and then complete the quest the following turn.
And also as well, something that's quite important is that Hunter gets punished by Vanish more than most classes.
Yeah.
Because you need your stuff on the board, and a Hunter doesn't really have a lot of battle cries. You know, the Razormaw, great, but you need a minion on the board anyway.
Yep.
It's often much, much better to, there you go, to Razormaw onto a minion that can attack that turn to get instant value. So again, Vanish can really, really punish you here. Highmane, very, very slow card, means it's going to cost you a lot to try and get that back onto the board post-Vanish.
Yeah, and you know how you can prevent Charged Devilsaur from ever attacking the face? Vanish it the turn after it was first played.
There you go.
Though it will be good at dealing with 5/5 minions.
That's true. It'll more than likely kill 2 over the course of 2 turns.
Yeah.
Or more than likely it'll kill 1 on 1 turn, then either get traded or go face. If we're talking realism, say.
Wow.
The old third Vanish.
Third Vanish in a row. He wishes it was 3 Wisps he had in his hand right now. I wonder if Johnny has to consider... he can't play the Vanish this turn because he already used up the coin. If he could play Vanish, maybe he would, just to get rid of this stuff and put the Flame Elemental back in his hand. I guess putting up a 1/1 taunt is the best he's got at the moment.
A little bit rough here. Unleash. Gonna get some work done. I wouldn't even mind Unleash, coin, bow. Or you wouldn't even have to do that.
What about Unleash, Razormaw, give the Rat Pack Wind Fury?
Yeah. Or plus attack. Just get more 1/1s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking about it.
Wind Fury can't be targeted or stealth. Looks like it's going to be that
Get him
Wind
for
Fury.
8. Unleash, definitely going to happen now. Clear the board. Hit for 12. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Argentina actually had the opportunity to just say, we're going to play against Rogue. What shall we pick? I have Hunter. Go. It's really, really strong.
Things not looking good for Johnny Stone and Team Austria, as they may be about to get their second loss in the Hearthstone Global Games, losing to Russia and now Argentina. Argentina, on the other hand, will be taking their 3rd win, having only lost 1 game.
And this is looking pretty strong indeed, although Vanish will get rid of the Dirty Rat, will get rid of the Wind Fury, and reset the board. And as I said, Hunter doesn't do well when the board is reset. They're too slow. But there is Bow. There will be a... I think you trade into the... Oh, you can't because of Taunt, of course.
Yeah.
There's going to be the Dog. There's going to be Bow. So that's 6 damage next turn.
Every bit counts, too. 6 damage next turn with a guarantee 5 the turn after.
Unless there's a Taunt.
In fact, the Hound's not even necessary. It's just Hero Power Bow, and then Hero Power Bow again.
If there's Kill Command? No, it's not enough. It's still only 8. But that would actually be better, because you set them on hero power kill.
Yeah.
Not, because then if the second Biofin comes out and gets shadow stepped or whatever, that's more taunts to deal with. But yeah, either way, this is looking very, very grim indeed for Austria. And this just winds all the way back to the class picks, 100%. And obviously the strong opening of going 1, 2, 3, 4, but still.
There's the kill command, as you just called. So Hound, kill command, hero power, going to put Johnny Stone in a bit of an uncomfortable position. Is it fair to say that? Uncomfortable?
Reasonable, reasonable. It's just I'd be shocked if they don't do it. Are they going to coin out the dog?
Oh, well, this works too.
It doesn't matter, right? You just dog kill command. The kill command, the point of the issue was that kill command seals the deal because it sets up a damage, an amount of damage that cannot be even navigated or healed through because it's permanent and will always go off. So this game is going to go to Argentina, and with no taunts in hand, Austria's just going to give it up. There's no way they can win. They're dead to board. Never mind what's in